What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Coming at you live here at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Instead of 2, we changed some things around. So appreciate everybody who's hanging out in the chat right now. And if you're watching this replay, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. First off, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Appreciate your guys' times. And of course, this is Comic Collector Origins. So I am back with episode 39. And it's just been a crazy journey. It's been an awesome journey to be able to meet all the individuals that I've been interviewing. If you guys are not familiar with this show, Comic Collector Origins is all about the community, where I interview people from the community on as in Comic Cons and LCSs and things like that. So we mix it up a bit, and we're always talking about origin stories of superheroes. So I like to switch it around. So for today, my guest for today is Comics with Bueller. I'm so excited to have Bueller on. I've been watching his content for, I think, ever since I've really been on Instagram, and really been involved with, being part of this hobby and seeing him on YouTube and everything else. So I am really excited because I feel like I've learned so much from a lot of his content and continue to, as he has some amazing shows even today, or currently in today's world. So let me bring in my man Bueller here, and we will get started. Bueller, what's going on?
Justin, hello. Thank you, sir, for adjusting the time, especially for me. I had some prior things I had to do. I had to film the coffee video this morning. I got to base it around Bob. Bob only gives me a few hours during the week, and the rest of the time he's doing God knows what. But you know what? I appreciate you giving me the time and kind of moving this a little bit further into the day for me to join you and stuff for No Good Comics. And I'm pretty happy to share with you why I collect comics and some of the good things and bad things and all sorts of other stuff. Should be a lot of fun, Justin. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Absolutely, Bueller, man. I really do appreciate you being on, and I'm telling you, I know we were talking backstage about this, but like I've been following you now for quite some time, and I think really when you first got started with YouTube, and it's amazing to see where you've brought your platform from here. And the best part about it is you are such a community member. I feel like you are so involved. I see you in other people's chats. I see you, being on guest shows and inviting other people on, and the shows that you run all the time. You're answering questions based on what the community is asking and what they want to know. So I really do appreciate all your work and efforts that you're putting into your channel and your platform overall. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to be on here. I like this 6 o'clock thing. For me anyway, the afternoon, evening, kind of time. It's a little different for me, so I like it.
Well, like I said backstage, man, I love this stuff. I really do, and I really I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy the community and just everyone involved in it, whether they have a YouTube channel or not. It doesn't really matter to me. Yeah. I just enjoy talking with people and having an opportunity to do what I do. And luckily, I've been blessed to, find an audience and enjoy my passion with them, and vice versa. So, I mean, I'm all about it. I couldn't ask for anything better, to be totally honest. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Absolutely, man. That's incredible. And for those of you that are watching right now, or if you're catching this replay, make sure that if you're not already following Bueller, I put his information in the description below. You can subscribe to his channel and also find him over on Instagram. I know you have a ton of content, and we'll talk a little bit about some of that stuff coming up here. Before we get into the fun and the details, let's just say a quick hello to the chat, because I do see some familiar faces hanging out here. So we'll highlight a few and read some off as well. We got Travis, TM Nerdy Station, brother. Thanks for stopping in, man. Always a pleasure to see you. We also got my man Nick Station as well. Thanks for stopping in. Sith Lordly from the Spine Ticks crew. Always a pleasure to see you. Was just over there this past Wednesday hanging out with them. Had a blast. Really great time. So appreciate you stopping in, Sith. Shadowhawk, what's up? What's up? Hashtag Backlog Bros in the house. Station, brother. I love it. I love it. We got Jennifer in the house. What's going on, Jennifer? Always great to see you as well. My buddy Michael, aka Sove Collector, thanks for stopping in. And there goes the chat, always jumping on me. We're gonna jump back in here. We got Stay Puff as well. What's going on, Stay Puff? Magic Lasso, I see in here. Always good to see you, Ryan. Ruben Guzman also here. Thanks for hanging out, Ruben. Jeff Schultz representing Chicago. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see, just scrolling through some. I see Marcos in here. Hello. We got Alan Climbing Comics. Thanks for stopping in. Middle Clergy. Hello. Thanks for stopping in, guys. If you guys are new, I see some familiar faces and some new faces. So definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and make sure you're following Bueller as well. So I think I've kind of caught everybody at the moment. We got 11, 12 people hanging out. So guys, feel free to, leave questions, comments. We'll make sure to go back and forth in the chat and make sure we get most of them answered. My man Fable, my DC brother. What's up, Fabe? So let's get into the fun stuff here, Bueller. I'm going to start off with the whole reason this show is all about is your comic collector origin story, how you got started. What age were you? What did your environment look like? Who were some of your influences that may have gotten you into the hobby in general?
Well, nobody influenced me. I was the only one in the family. I'm actually the youngest out of 11 kids.
Wow.
Which is my parents were married and divorced many times, so I got a lot of stepbrothers and sisters. I can't even keep track, to be totally honest. But I am the youngest out of all of them. But I grew up when I was a kid. I grew up on a farm until I was about 10 years old, and we moved to the city. So I grew up on a farm out in Canby, and we had horses and cows and all that stuff. And I used to get my allowance on Saturday. It was like $2. And I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I'd literally get on my bike. I'd ride my bike into town. It's like 4 or 5 miles and uphill both ways. You guys know the story. But anyway, I'd ride into town. I'd go to, I think it was Thriftway. It was Thriftway. And I'd go there, and they had the 3-packs of comics that were in like the plastic bag with a little hook on the top.
Yeah.
And would go on the little spinner rack and stuff. And I used to always grab those because they were like $1 for the 3-pack or something. So I'd grab that, and then I'd grab a whatchamacallit candy bar.
Ooh,
and then I would grab a soda pop from at that time there was like actual stores that just sold pop, like homemade soda pop and stuff. So a pop shop.
Nice.
So I'd get a little bottle of pop, and the thing is, if you brought your bottle back from before, that you get a discount or something. So it was like 10 cents. So I'd bring my bottle back and stuff. And then there was an arcade, and I'd go play track and field. So I had 1 quarter left. I'd go play track, and I'd bring my pencil so you can double tap the buttons really fast. That was a trick.
I love it.
That was my Saturday, man. And I'd sit there, I'd get my comics, get my whatchamacallit, my pop, and then I'd ride my bike home. I'd get halfway to where the train tracks were, and I'd follow the train tracks down, and I'd just go and sit down and start reading my comics, and just on the train tracks and stuff by the tree. And I did that for years and years. I mean, it was mainly Marvel stuff. It was just like Avengers, West Coast Avengers, some X-Men here and there. Whatever was in the 3-packs, I ended up getting doubles, because I couldn't see the third one. Although I was sometimes a bad kid, and I opened the bag a little bit.
Cheating there.
But I still bought it, so whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I would just do that. We did that for, I don't know, probably about 4 years until we moved from the farm, and then we moved into the city, and then I found out what a comic book shop was.
Wow.
And because we moved into a small town, Milwaukee. It's a town right outside of Portland. Okay. And Milwaukee has had a comic book shop called Pegasus Books, and that was the first comic shop I ever went to, and that's actually the home of Dark Horse Comics as well. They're actually located in Milwaukee, Oregon. So like right down the street, as years went by, Dark Horse popped up and stuff like that. And eventually that comic shop closed, but that was the first comic shop I went to. But for the most part, majority of my books were bought, those little 3-packs, at the grocery store for the first 4 or 5 years. So that's where the passion started. And for the most part, I did read a few of them, but I mainly looked at the pictures. And I just thought, oh, look how cool these characters are with all the muscles and all the fight scenes. I thought it was really cool.
Yep.
But I did read some of them. But mainly, I just like the artwork, and I try to draw. I couldn't draw that good, but I tried and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it all started. That's where all the passion came from. And that I always here's the thing: if I always tried to get my allowance bumped up to $2.50. I'm glad it didn't, because the reason why, if it would have went up to $2.50. I would have enough money to buy a G.I. Joe figure, and then I would have bought that instead of the comic books.
Wow.
So I'm glad my parents never raised that money, because I would have bought a G.I. Joe figure. I'd never loved comics.
That's interesting to think, like that minor change could have really adjusted the direction that you went with this whole hobby. So I'm glad it worked out, and glad that you got to where you are now because of that, because that's wild. Yeah. We got my man Panda Awesome in the house. What's up, Adrian? Magic Glass was saying, now if you go to buy pop, you come home with a Funko. Yeah, that's the only pop nowadays. I feel like anybody's picking up. We got my man Comics for Cheap in here. What's going on, bro? Kachung, hello, Dave. We got Sheena. Thank you all for stopping in here. Make sure you guys are subbed up to Bueller if you are not already. Metal Clergy said, I'm an old comic head like Bueller. Books were 25 cents cover when I started.
Wow. They were a little bit more for me. I think I remember 50 cents. 50 cents was kind of my wheelhouse, 50 to 65 cents, somewhere in there as far as what I can remember. So nice.
Jennifer saying the sounds like such a wholesome movie. The start of Bueller's life.
it was. I mean, it may sound a little cliche or whatnot, but it really, when I think about it, that's exactly how it was. I remember I had my, I got my bike from Kmart or whatnot, and stuff. And, as soon as I got that money, if it was nice out, I'd be riding up and down the hills to go into town. That town of Canby has grown quite a bit since then. It was very small when I was a kid, so it was a little different and stuff. And but just stop out in the field and just read my comics and enjoy and pick some. That's right. There was blackberries bush. We used to pick the blackberries off the bush and just sit there and eat the berries and read comics and get the berry juice all over the comics and stuff. I remember that.
Oh, now if you're going back to your old comics and you see some berry juice, then those exactly remind you those days. Yeah. Marco says, "What's an allowance?"
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. So with some of the books that you've been buying or that you were buying at that time, do you recall some of the key characters or story arcs that you may have been reading at that time? I know you said Marvel for the most part.
It was mainly Marvel. I mean, I think I was a really big fan of the West Coast Avengers for some reason. I loved they had a little 4-part miniseries I really liked, and they launched into their regular ongoing title. I really enjoyed those. I liked I liked the 4-part miniseries back then. That was kind of a deal that was, they did it with the Falcon. They did it with Hawkeye. They did it with the Punisher. It was actually a 5-issue series, but it was 4 or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I always liked the little events like that because I thought they said limited on them. I was like, ooh, limited.
Yeah, got to get your hands on it.
They literally said that on the cover. I was like, ooh, this is going to be special. And but I really enjoyed those a lot. I mean, as far as I remember reading Wolverine. That was a big one. I really enjoyed that limited series when it came out.
Yep.
This one right here, I think we're all on the same page. Secret Wars was another one that kind of left its mark. This was the first one I bought at a comic shop.
Oh yeah.
And this is Contest of Champions. It's a horrible story. It's a 3-issue. This is actually their first event book that they ever did.
Really?
Contest of Champions. Yeah, it wasn't Secret Wars. It was this one.
Wow.
And it's not very good. I mean, at the time I thought it was great, but if you read it today, it's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like it's literally almost similar to Secret Wars, but really there's no consequences. If they literally don't have to fight each other, they'd be like, They'd be like, "Oh no, we're not going to fight." And it's like, "Okay, you're good to go. Bye. See you later." And that's literally what it is. But this book was,
I love it.
The very first one I bought at Pegasus, and I still have it to this day. My mom bought it for me off the wall. So
very cool.
That one right there.
Very nice. That is awesome. And so, I mean, you mentioned Marvel. Was there any DC in your life at that time at all? Anything?
I got into DC a little bit later, like when I was like in junior high and high school with Batman and stuff like that. But really, not too many DC. I like Firestorm was a character that stood out, and that's actually I don't know, because I was a Punisher fan, and Jerry Conway made Firestorm and Punisher to the same character, or not the same characters, but he made those characters.
Right.
And so I liked Firestorm. I liked the Flash a little bit and stuff. And but mainly 90% of it was Marvel things. I just, X-Men was really, as soon as I got into, 12, 13, it was X-Men all the way. It was just like the mutants and all that stuff. And I read all that stuff. Everything that Chris Claremont has pretty much done on X-Men I've read. So
nice.
And I just really enjoyed the when I could understand what he was talking about, because it took a little while for me to actually understand what was on the page, because his stories were so in depth. They were
Sure.
arcs would last years.
Yeah.
Year-long story arcs. And it was like, oh, okay, you got to pay attention to this.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on. And the characters were interesting. So, I mean, Wolverine, Colossus, and Cyclops, they're just cool characters. You know, they stood out. And you can never go wrong with Claremont X-Men stuff.
Heck no, man. I have a whole show on it that John and I do every week, and I totally agree with that statement. Yep. We got Unruly Simeon in the house. It's going on Unruly. We had DJ Links up in here as well. Appreciate you guys swinging by the channel here. So, Bueller, was there a time where, I know you said no, there wasn't really anyone else that influenced you, it was all you. Did you have friends or family members that you were able to talk to about these books? Were they also into it, you know, hanging out with groups of people where you were able to have these conversations?
Just no. I mean, I try to think back and no. I mean, I wish I had a different answer to that question, but it's like when I go back in high school or like something like grade school or whatnot, my friends, I had a lot of friends, don't get me wrong, but none of them were really into comics. Mm-hmm. I was into other stuff. I was into sports as well. So I was kind of doing sports and everything. So that was our common thing that we'd talk about and stuff like that. Sure. But as far as comics goes, no, it was very, besides the person who owned the comic shop, you know, or worked at the comic shop, that was about it. I mean, none of my family was into it. Mm-hmm. None of my brothers or sisters were into it. My parents weren't. I mean, my mom was supportive. I mean, she'd give me money to go to the comic shop or whatever. So she was supportive of it, but not really. That's kind of sad, you know.
No, but and that's why
my kids don't even. My kids aren't into it. You know,
that's how cool that this hobby can be. Is that it is, whether you have a lot of people to talk to about it, or if you don't, you know, you can fall into these books and really go off on a journey, you know, on anything that you're reading. And as you said, you know, you at a young age, the only, you know, you're running into the comic collector or your LCS owner or whatever. And then obviously as you get older, you're going to, you know, you keep running into more people and other people hanging out at the shops and things like that. So I do feel like anybody's really set up for that direction, you know, even if you don't necessarily have people in your life. I'll tell you, I didn't have, I mean, just getting into the hobby, you know, a couple years ago, I didn't have a lot of people to talk comics with in my personal life, like friends, you know, people from college, my colleagues, things like that. No one was really into it. And obviously, I mean, Instagram has been so incredible for me, and of course YouTube. So, you know, now it's a total different game, and anybody getting into it, hopefully they discover this community online, because it's an amazing community.
I think that's a big difference about, you know, years past and right now. It's just like you're not alone anymore collecting comics. You're part of a tribe. That's what Bob always says. You're part of a tribe that's into this, and the tribe makes the comic industry better, and it makes it more stable. To where, you know, people thought, oh, the market going to crash or something like that. It's like, well, it's different time now because we're all connected, and we can all somewhat, if it starts to go that way, we can do something about it. We can help prevent that. To where before we were like, oh, it just happened. We're kind of all alone, and that is what it is. I think the fact that there is such a online presence and people talking every day about comics just goes to show you that this medium will never go away. You know, so
100%. It does make the hobby that much better. It really does. Want to say a quick hello to Flash by Night hanging out here with us. What's going on, Flash? We also got Sleepy Reader 666 hanging out here as well. Bueller bitten by the radioactive webcam. There you go. So then now you talked a little bit about, you know, going through middle school, high school, so on and so forth. As you got older, were you, and then even to where you've gotten to where you are now, were there ever breaks for you? Was there a time, or were there moments or times or period of times where you stopped collecting, stopped reading before you got back into it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we all kind of at one time got into sports cards as well. That was something I really got into in the 90s and stuff, and was really into basketball cards because I played basketball and I was kind of into it. Nice. But by my sophomore year in high school, I mean, I was focused on girls. I mean, that's just, I could care less about comics. I mean, I still bought comics, but literally it was like Drakkar Noir all the way, baby. It was like trying to make my room look cool and saving up money for a car and stuff like that, and hanging out with friends and going to parties. And I mean, I had a lot of friends, and I really enjoyed. I kind of knew everyone from. I moved around a lot when I was little, but I moved around in the same area, so I actually got to go to like 4 different schools within the same district. So I knew a bunch of people, so it was really cool.
Yeah,
and so. Even though I still enjoyed comics, it was just like it was slowly it kind of tapered off as far as what I was buying. I still had stuff in my collection, but I was like, I dated this one girl for like a whole year, and I kid you not, pretty much all we did was just fool around that whole year. So,
so there was no comics in sight at that time.
No. Luckily, she never got pregnant. Let's just say.
Oh my goodness.
I was a typical, 16, 17-year-old kid with one thing on his mind, and what's a comic book?
Exactly. You got to have your priorities in certain parts of your life. So I get it.
But I mean, so I did kind of break from there, although my enjoyment was still I still love them. Okay. It was just like I'm spending my money on other stuff, and I just, can't, I mean, I had Jesus. I bought like suits, like suedes.
Oh yeah,
suedes, because I worked at like J.C. Penney's in like the young men's department and stuff, and they had these like neon suits or whatnot. And I like buy those. I looked ridiculous, but at the time it was the style, and so that's what I was all about and everything. And so like right after high school was over, I kind of looked at my collection and stuff and just kind of sat on it for a while. Mm-hmm. And then very shortly, in my early 20s, I ended up dumping the whole thing at a convention. And I think I was probably 21. I think I was with, I think I had, my daughter was just a few months away or whatnot. I had my daughter when I was 22. So it's like, okay, we got to make room or whatnot, because the girl I was with, the mother, she's like, oh, we need room. Okay. And I really wasn't collecting either at the time. I just had a bunch of stuff sitting around.
Yeah.
And so we took it to a convention and sold everything. And I think we bought a car with what we sold. Mm-hmm. And which is great. I was happy, at the time. I wasn't really, I was kind of, even though I had stuff, I was kind of out of the hobby because I hadn't bought anything for months. And so and that was right before the crash. I mean, as far as the 90s stuff goes, that was right before the like death of Superman and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I was still I made good money. And, but as soon as I sold everything, I didn't look back. I mean, I didn't step in a comic shop for years.
Wow.
I mean, for 20 some odd years. I was like, okay, turn the page and kind of go from there. And, kids on the way and take care of that stuff. And
sure, next chapter of your life.
Yeah, my messing around caught up with me.
That happens. We got John Thomas in the house. What's going on, John Thomas? Thanks for stopping in.
Love my kids, by the way. They didn't ruin anything.
Yeah, noted. So that is interesting because I people I've talked to, people I've interviewed before. I feel like we hear this where life happens. You take these breaks, and even as you said, sometimes you sell your books or you get rid of your books or you pass them to somebody else. So and then it leaves you to kind of starting over at some point. So for you, if when you sold these, and you said years afterwards, right? You took this break for years. What was it that got you back into the hobby? And what did that look like to you? I mean, did you jump back into just buying up books, or did you how did that get? How'd you get into it at that point?
Well, a couple of things real quick. When I sold my collection, I held on to like a short box of stuff.
Okay.
Nothing of any value, like monetary value. It was stuff like this. Okay. So like this, and a few
no Hulk 181s or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing like that. So I didn't have anything of any really value. Maybe I had a New Mutants 98 or something like that at the time, but at that time it was like a $10 book or $5 book, so it wasn't that big of a deal, and I didn't really care about that character anyway. Yeah. But anyway, what got me back into it was, excuse me, basically my friend Damon, he called me about 4 years ago, and he's like, "Hey, there's this comic shop open up down the street from your house." and he remembered he's a high school friend and actually grade school friend. And he's like, he goes, "Did you know that?" I go, "No." He goes, "Yeah, you should go check it out." So sorry, hold on 1 minute.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Cough drop.
Yeah. Take your time. We got Stephen Mumford in the house here. What's going on, Stephen? It's fun getting back into it after a break. Totally agree. Stefan, excuse me. Yeah, no, I think we all need breaks from time to time on anything that we're doing. So it just happens.
So anyway, he let me know that there was a shop down the street. So I was like, I didn't know about it. So I just drove down there. It was literally about 1.5 miles away from my house where I am at now. And I walk in. It's just a little hole in the wall. Nothing special. This was, like I said, about 4 years ago. And I kind of remember walking in and I'm feeling like, oh, this is great. And I could smell it. I could smell the comic shop odor and stuff like that. And I'm looking through the front boxes. And he's got a whole bunch of short and long boxes up front and stuff. And I'm going through and looking at prices and, $4, $5, $10, $20 or whatnot. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. And he goes, I got another room in the back. And I go, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, that's my 50-cent room. And I go, oh, okay. And so I walk back there in the 50-cent room and it's like, I like this. There's probably about 100 short boxes of 50-cent books.
Oh my gosh.
And at the time I wasn't working or nothing, so I didn't really have any extra disposable income. So I had like maybe $10 in my pocket. Yep. And so I just started flipping through and they were all alphabetized, which was great. I mean, they weren't bagged and boarded or nothing. But I just started picking through and picking out some ones like West Coast Avengers and stuff that I used to collect, and Commandi, and that's another one or whatnot. Some Punisher, some old Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, and I just bought a handful, and that was it. I just $10. I went home and started looking through the books, and it gave me something to do that day. And then I think I went back the next day and bought another $10 worth or whatnot. And then I did that for about a week. Every couple of days I'd go in there, actually a couple of weeks. And then finally I went in there and said, hey, I've been buying these books, just kind of, rekindling my passion for it. I go, is there anything new that I should be looking at? Because I haven't bought a new book yet.
Right.
And he gave me Astonishing X-Men by Josh Whedon. Oh. And I'd never read it and stuff. He's like, here, read this. He just gave it to me. He gave me the trade.
Oh, nice.
Said, here, read this. And I take it home and read it. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And then I went back and I bought the whole run that he had, because they're not very expensive for that run. Right. At least I don't know if they are now. But they were great. And I loved it. And that was kind of I went home and looked on YouTube and typed in comic books and started watching some videos about comics. And it was just a bunch of people like, look what I bought, and just haul videos and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. What's this? And everything was new. Because I haven't seen a book for like 25 years.
Sure. Yeah.
Anything within the 25-year period, it's all brand new to me.
Yeah. So you didn't recognize any covers or anything
exactly. Like, who's the Winter Soldier? I didn't know who that was. And then it's like all these new characters, all this new stuff. So everything to me is brand new again. I have a wealth of knowledge of anything from 93 and below, but anything from like 93 up till 4 years ago, I have no clue. Literally, it's all brand new.
Right.
And so to me, it was just like, this is awesome, and that was it. That was just the ball that kind of got me going, enjoying comics again. And then I was like, maybe I should make a video. And that was literally it. I just decided to make a video one day, and I bought a stack of 50 cents and I said, look what I bought. And I'm not even on the camera. It's just me showing some books. And I'm like, thanks for watching. And that was it. So a 5-minute video, and there you go.
Wow. And that's how a Comics with Bueller, the YouTube channel started. Was that kind of the kickoff?
That's exactly it. It was Comics with Bueller YouTube channel was made. My first video was on a first generation iPad mini.
Wow.
It was stacked on a bunch of boxes in my bedroom.
I love it.
I made a little display to try to decorate it a little bit, and then I just showed some comics. And then like I did about 4 or 5 videos, and I wasn't on the thing. And then I had researched comics a little bit to see what the changes were. So I made a video called Pet Peeves about comic books. And that was the first video I did in front of the camera. And it was basically just comparing comics from what they are today to what they were 25 years ago.
Sure.
There was no grading back then. There was no variance back then. There was no, all this stuff has changed or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a little simple pet peeves video about stuff I don't understand or don't it was mainly just information I didn't understand. I didn't really know what grading was. You know, what's the big deal? Why do people want to take a book and put it in plastic? That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
You know, and but anyway, that video kind of that was actually going to be my last video. I wasn't going to make any more videos because I wasn't paying any attention to it, but people liked it, and like it was my first video to do 1,000 views or something like that. So I was like, oh, okay, and then I kind of went from there. So that was it.
When was this? Was like what would you say, like 4 years ago? You said, or 3 years ago?
Just my 3-year anniversary was February, so I've been doing this 3 years and 2 months.
Oh my goodness! So I thought I saw something where it was that you kind of just started this when I was getting into comic books, because I got into comics a little after, like it's going to be 3 years in August for me for really getting into reading and collecting comics. So you were, like I said, you were one of the first people I saw, because I started doing, looking up on YouTube, just using YouTube to look up how-to videos and seeing what people were buying, kind of what you mentioned for yourself. And so that's where I discovered you initially. And then I started my whole thing over on Instagram and just kind of did my thing there for a while. I wasn't really doing I wasn't doing any videos or anything like that, but I knew that you were, you kind of just started out, and then out of nowhere, bam, like things just happened, and you are, now where you are, which is incredible and encouraging to see. And I'm happy for you, because you're a great guy, man. I really appreciate you sharing this stuff.
Well, once I realized that I might be onto something, I really dedicated all my time to it. And that's what it was. Yeah. It was literally, I wasn't doing anything, so I didn't have anything distracting me or whatnot, so as soon as I realized that, hey, this could be something to where I could, possibly even, help pay my bills and stuff like that. And then I really took it seriously, even though, I enjoy it and I have a lot of fun, but I was like, I've spent hours and days just like, how do I make a good thumbnail, or how do I title my video the right way? And I researched it, and I still do it to this day. Still looking at stuff.
Absolutely.
But, I really looked at it way ahead of everyone else. Like I was really kind of like, does this work? Does this not work? Does this word work next with this word? And I kind of got a little obsessed with it. I was like really pouring that in there. And once I started to see results from all that extra effort I'm putting in behind the camera, I was like, okay, yeah, this. I'm on the right track. This is going to be something that will, leave a mark or whatnot. And it does make a difference. A lot of people ask me about that. What's the secret sauce or whatnot? And there's a lot of luck involved. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like, just do your research, man. Just sit there and find out what works. It's all out there. It just, I still see people today that have been doing this for years, and they're like missing basic stuff, and they're wondering why. That hasn't, clicked yet.
Right.
And it's like, it's there. You just gotta take a minute to find it and stuff. But I seriously, man, I remember sitting down like doing like a whole weekend and not sleeping and just literally obsessed with how to make a title.
I love that. Video. Yeah. Well, that's the other half of it too, is you put in the work, man. Don't take that away from you either, because you definitely put in the work, and it is not something that just happens overnight. You have to work at it. You have to test things. You have to fail. You have to, fall short from time to time to figure out what works, what doesn't. And I think a lot of people go into a lot of different hobbies where their mind is like, or anything that they're trying to achieve, where it's just like, I want it now. Like, can't this just happen? And it's just not the case. So many successful people have shown that you do have to put in a lot of work and effort into what you're trying to do. So, and it's well deserved for you, because you definitely are doing that. So let me ask you a little bit about, cause I always like to ask my guests, I like to bring up Comic-Cons. I'm curious if you recall your first Comic-Con, and if it was, where was it, and tell us a little bit about that experience.
My first Comic-Con was back in the 90s, so it wasn't really the same thing as what it is today. Back in the 90s, Comic-Cons was just a room with a bunch of people selling books. Right. And there was no celebrities. There was no, just
no
a bunch of
stars or anything.
A bunch of stinky dudes hanging out in a basement. And pretty much that's what it was. And that's where I sold all my books. Yeah. It was just rows and rows of just vendors and stuff like that.
They're still stinky, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Flash forward to a few years back, Wizard World Comic-Con came to Portland. And this is actually before I got back into the hobby. That's right. And I remember just seeing it advertised on the news. And I remember seeing that Stan Lee was going to be there. And, you know, obviously Stan Lee holds a special place in everyone's heart.
Yeah.
And so I've never been to a Comic-Con like that before. And this is probably about 6 years ago. And so my niece, she wanted to go to a Comic-Con and stuff. So I was like, okay, let's go to it. So I took my niece and we just went to, you know, just go see everything or whatnot. And it was fine. You know, it was, I saw Stan Lee. There was such a line. I didn't get in line and wait or whatnot, you know, and I think maybe I bought a book or two or something from just random or whatnot. Yeah. But it was just kind of neat seeing all the cosplay and people dressed up and everything and kind of knowing that, hey, this is still out there.
Yeah.
But that was, you know, like I said, that was about 6 years ago. And then I didn't go to a Comic-Con until after the Bueller channel popped up. And the next Comic-Con I went to was, it was a Wizard World. That's right. Wow. And they actually invited me to come. And they had seen one of my videos. And this is really early on. This was like within the first 6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they saw me do a video where my niece was in the video and she was doing sign language to the books we were showing. It was kind of interesting.
Nice.
And so they invited me to come to the con and cover it and stuff. And I went there and covered their con for them. And that's another time when I was like, sink or swim. You know, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. You know, I've never interviewed a celebrity before. So I'm like, I told my niece, I said, the simple fact that they're letting us in the door is a win. Anything else?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's the way I looked at it, you know, and then we went in there and we kind of filmed some stuff and filmed a couple panels and they got pretty well received. And like the very next week, I got invited to another Comic-Con down in Salem. And then I got to interview some creators and stuff like that, which was fantastic. But I've what was the question?
No, just some of your experiences with some of your early times going to Comic-Cons. That's really you're right on point.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I love it. You know, I'm curious what that looks like for somebody and you know what your first one especially kind of looked like too.
Yeah, my favorite experience is there was a Comic-Con up here in Washington State Summer Con. It was about 2 years ago, and I had I had reached out to the creator of the Comic-Con or the showrunner, and I was like, hey, you know, you gotta have a great con. He has a great lineup, and I'd love to cover it for you and stuff like that. And this guy put me through the ringer. This guy is like, he called me on the phone. He's like, why the hell should I have you cover my con? I'm the one putting out the money. He goes, I get all these YouTubers calling me up trying to do this, trying to cover my con, wanting free passes. It's really annoying. And I said, I get it. I go, don't get me wrong. I go, I understand it. And because he's like, you know, this one YouTuber called me up and he wants to cover my con and 10 people watched his video last week. And he goes, what good does that do me when I'm spending thousands of dollars to get all these people in here? I go, sure. I totally understand what you're talking about. Yeah. And I told him I can appreciate the simple fact that you take a minute and actually look and do the research on who you're inviting because they're going to, you know, cover you. But he noticed that I had an audience and people were watching and stuff like that. So I told him, I said, you know, I go, you're Washington State Summer Con. Everyone knows it in Washington State. I go, but nobody really knows it outside of that. And I go, well, that's what I can provide. You know, I can sit there and talk about your Washington State Summer Con and someone in Florida is going to be watching, you know,
wow. Yeah.
Or New York or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
And so he could appreciate that. And he's like, yeah. He goes, and we talked for a couple hours on the phone.
Okay.
And like I said, he put me through the ringer. And but like, I could appreciate it. I thought he takes his business seriously and he's not just going to, you know, oh, sure, come on here. Because you don't want someone to come there and just bash your thing or whatnot.
Oh, yeah, no. He wants to
do it any good. So, right. So anyway, we made plans and stuff, and he got really busy. And so some of the plans fell through, but he's like, I still want you to come and do whatever you want to do and stuff. So I was like, great. So I show up there, and he knows what I look like because he's watched the videos. I don't know what he looks like. So he finds me in the crowd or whatnot before the con starts. Yeah. And so we're talking a little bit. He's like, he's like, you're a big fan of Chris Claremont, right? I'm like, yeah, he's one of my favorites. Just good. He goes, I need you to host the panel. Can you do that for me?
Whoa.
And I'm like, sure. I've never done that before.
Right in the lion's den.
And I'm like, sure. You know, because I'm not going to say no to that opportunity. I'm not. Didn't even cross my mind to say no.
You got to take it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I invited Comic Tom to come down.
Nice.
And because I got him a pass to come down. And so Tom comes down and he comes in there. I go, hey man, I'm supposed to do a thing with Claremont. Do you want to join me? And of course, Tom says, yeah, let's do this. So me and Tom host the panel for Chris Claremont. And me and Tom are, because neither of us have ever done it before.
Right.
And so we're both freaking out. Like, we got 2 hours to get this ready.
Right.
And we're both freaking out. We don't know what to say and stuff like that. And we're kind of brainstorming. We'll come up with a bunch of ideas. And then finally we get to the stage and Chris Claremont's late. We're like sitting there waiting for him to come in. There's people in the audience kind of waiting. And so me and Tom are like entertaining the audience and talking to this group of people and stuff.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh yeah, we do YouTube, just like rambling and stuff until Claremont shows up. Claremont gets there, he's eating a cookie and he's drinking a Pepsi and he doesn't want to have anything to do with us. And he's like, really? Yeah, and he's salty. And he gets up on stage and it's like, Chris Claremont, everybody. And he's like, hey, what's going on? And he's all grumpy. And we ask him like 3 or 4 questions. He doesn't answer any of our questions.
Oh my gosh.
We asked him one question and he just say something else. He was like, oh, what's your thoughts on Peter Parker? Well, let me tell you about Firestorm. That's kind of how it was,
Whoa.
For the first time. Anyway, we're on stage and we're going and we're talking to him and stuff. And I'm enjoying it. I'm leading the conversation and stuff. I'm the head host of the thing and Tom's kind of chiming in here and there. And then like the guy, there's another panel coming up after us, which is the clerks panel. All the clerks members and stuff are going to be on panel.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get us off stage, because we're running, because he was late.
Okay.
And they're trying to get us
wrap it up.
Stage. Yeah. And we're not doing it. We just kept going. we just kept going until Claremont stopped talking.
Oh, wow. And I hear he's a talker. So
yeah, because we're like, hell, this is Chris Claremont, and we're not going to tell him to shut up.
Yeah, no.
We just let him go. They got so pissed.
Oh my gosh.
They actually moved to a different room. So we bumped the clerks panel to another room because we.
Oh my gosh. So they wouldn't even move you. You just did it. You just did your thing. That's awesome. I love that.
It was really cool. I mean, I really enjoyed meeting Chris Claremont because he's one of my favorites. Yeah. Literally, I met him on stage. I mean, we didn't have time to introduce each other. It was like he came in on stage and, hey, Chris Claremont. And that's how I met him right there.
Oh my god.
The next day, him and I talked outside the event and stuff like that and kind of got to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
But literally, that's how we met. Just like, hey, Chris Claremont, everybody. Welcome, to the Washington State Summer Con. Yay.
They literally they threw you into the lion's den straight forward.
Yeah. So I was really nervous. I'm glad Tom was there. He helped out a little bit and stuff, And Tom was nervous as well because we didn't know. We'd never done it before. And the funny thing is, I just hosted a panel before that because he asked me to do 2 other guys, Alex Sinclair and Scott Williams. And Tom didn't volunteer to help me on that one. He let me do that by myself. So I was like, thanks a lot, dude. And,
on your own.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. So their event comes up in June. And so I'm going to be there again and I'll be hosting all the stuff.
Nice.
Well,
that's awesome.
I'll be totally prepared. I won't find out like an hour before.
Yeah. Second time around be a better.
So that's one of my con experiences that will last a lifetime. So I mean,
totally, absolutely.
I'll take it. So
yeah, 100%. That's awesome. I wanted to highlight Dylan here. I see he's in the chat. What's going on, Dylan? I know you're going to be a guest over on his show a little later today as well. Is that right?
Right. We're talking about horror. I watched 2 horror movies yesterday, and I've seen them. But just watching these campy 80s stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
Brings back some memories.
Nice. I'll have to make sure I catch some of that. That's cool. Thanks for stopping in, Dylan. We also had Hip Hops and me, my buddy Steve from Team Nerd Herd in the house, and my buddy David. What's going on? Appreciate you guys swinging by here. Let's see. A couple other people I saw pop in here. Aggressively Relaxing. Thanks for stopping in as well. Let's see. Stefan says, Bueller Show is all about the love of comics. I don't watch any spec videos or slab unboxings. The real love of comics is about collecting for reading, and Bueller gets it. I think it's well said. Well said. Absolutely. So let's see. Did I miss anybody else here? I think everybody at the moment. We got my man Justin here. What's going on, Justin? Good to see you. And Chamorro Cinema on your left station, brother. Thanks for stopping in. So again, guys, if you are just arriving, make sure you're subbed up to Bueller. If you are not already, I put his information in the description below. Make sure you hit that thumbs up as well. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Would really appreciate that. So Bueller, let's talk a little bit about some books. I always like to have my guests show a book or two on, I don't know what you have with you now, but something that means something special to you. Doesn't necessarily have to be of monetary value, but just anything that might have, resonate with you in a special way.
Okay. Yeah, I got some right here. I'll show you.
Yeah, let me switch this here.
Let's see. This one is one of my, actually, I think this is probably my most favorite book in my collection because it kind of ticks every box as far as specialness. This Spider-Man 129. It's the first appearance of Punisher, which is my favorite character. It's autographed by Jerry Conway, the creator of the Punisher. I actually interviewed him at a Comic-Con, so I have a little bit of a history with the gentleman. Wow. And this was a gift from my nephew, bought it for me.
Oh, nice.
So it's like literally has like 3 or 4 different, things attached to it. I have gifts, which are pretty cool. I have books that are autographed, but I don't. This is the only book that has like all 3 or 4 things attached to it.
All in one. That's perfect, man. It's a nice looking copy too.
Yeah, it's not. I think it's missing the value stamp. I don't care about that.
That's all right. No, it looks beautiful, man. Looks great. Yellow pops, and obviously Punisher is he's the man. So
yeah. So this one is very special. The fact that my nephew got it for me, who knows absolutely nothing about comic books.
Oh wow.
Which I thought was pretty cool. It's pretty funny because he was him and his they're now married. At the time, his wife, they were going out of town. They wanted me to house sit for a few days or whatnot. And so I go over there one night, the first night, and he's like, "Oh, there's something on the counter for you and stuff." And I go, and there's this paper bag, and inside the paper bag is this book. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like,
"That's crazy."
He's like on the phone. He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Like, we wanted to get you something special."
Wow.
And so anyway, they picked that up for me.
And they did their research, man. That's awesome. That's great.
They did. So then the guy at the comic shop helped him out. He knew what I wanted. So that was
yeah. So was it already signed, or you got it signed when you met Conway?
No, I got it signed when I interviewed him.
Oh, even better.
That's so perfect. I interviewed him like about 6 months later.
Yeah.
Had this with me. Interviewed him, talked about the Punisher, talked about some other stuff, and then he signed it. So it worked out perfectly.
That's beautiful.
I have some other ones here. I mean, there's quite a bit of different stuff I think special. I mean, that one obviously has some monetary value as well. But stuff like this, I really like to get done. This is a blank cover. And this, as you can see, there's a bunch of signatures on this. There's a bunch of signatures on the front and the back. What this is, anytime I go somewhere, like out of town or to go to a con, if anyone recognizes me or, has watched the show and comes up to me and says hello, I ask them for their autograph.
Oh my gosh. I was just going to say, I see Perry Comics on there. I love this. This is a great idea, man.
So, I mean, whether they have a YouTube channel or not, just the simple fact that they give me their time and they watch our videos and then they enjoy them. Yeah. I want that memory for myself as well. So I bring this and I'll take a blank copy with me everywhere I go. And this one was from Orlando. And everyone I run into or meet that has watched the show or enjoyed the content I've made, I'll bring a pen with me and say, "Hey, can you sign this or whatnot?" So I have a few of these for every con that I've been to, and this is the most recent one. Wow. But like things like this, just are really, really important to me, and I'll write on them what the con was and what year and stuff like that. So
so you can always recall. That's incredible. It's such a great idea to. And again, like you said, I mean, it's cool because the idea of it like being almost opposite of someone coming up to you and wanting to, if they're asking for your autograph or not, but just for the idea that you're asking them is so cool, and you build that relationship.
Yeah, like you said, Perry's on there, which is horrible. Actually, Perry and I wouldn't have lunch together in Orlando. So Perry,
did.
I give Perry a hard time, but actually, I really enjoy Perry. So
there you go. Yeah, he's a great guy. I love that. I wanted to read something here real quick. Ryan here at Magic Lasso says some bigger channels don't take the time to show up in chats and don't reply if you reach out or say hi. Bueller always does, which to me is a testament to his character. Mad respects for him. Yeah, could not agree more. I echo that, man.
You know, I'll say this. You know, I've always, you know, because people have said that to me before. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? Well, why not? I mean, that's I look at it. It's that simple of an answer. You know, it's like, why wouldn't I? You know, I enjoy it. You know, so why wouldn't I do it or whatnot? I do miss stuff all the time. I miss emails. I miss messages, Instagram. I miss stuff on there all the time. I feel bad, but you know, whenever I see a live show going on, you know, or whatnot, you know, I try to jump in and at least say hello, you know, and kind of check bases with people. Or if I see something like, oh, we're celebrating our milestone or whatnot, I'll try to jump in and say hello.
Yep.
And then because I'm part of it, just like everyone else is. You know.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I think that's what we appreciate so much is that you don't put yourself above anybody, or you're very humble in that sense. And I remember when you showed up in my chats before, and that was a big deal to me because I'm like, oh man, hey, look, check that out, it's Bueller. Like, what are you doing here? Like, and you're like, yeah, just saying hi, like, you know, just being me, hanging out.
I only put myself above Perry.
Oh, there you go. I wish I don't know if Perry's in here right now. But
he's probably lurking.
he usually always is. I love that. Any other books you got there?
Yeah, I got some. I'll just kind of go through here. This was a wonderful gift from Two Brothers Comics.
Nice. Ooh.
They sent me this, which I just love it. It's got some. I love books with wear and tear on them. I prefer lower grade books. Yeah. And because to me it kind of tells a story. This was really enjoyed, you know, by someone at the time.
Yeah.
Or maybe multiple people. It's kind of
well loved.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, they sent me this recently, so I got to show that off.
Very nice.
Another one, which is kind of this is one of my favorite characters, the Falcon.
Oh yes,
so
love that book.
This is a great book. This is so cool because when this is the first time that Captain America, or first appearance of Falcon, and obviously the first time Captain America meets Falcon. Yeah. And I don't know if anyone's ever read the story, but Captain America is actually in the Red Skull's body. When he meets Falcon. So I mean, somehow they, with the stones or whatnot, they switch bodies. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
This is another one. I've showed this many times. This is another one of my favorite books. This was a gift from Steve Whiting. He sent me that one about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. He knew that I always wanted this book, and he also knew I would never pay that much money for a comic book.
Yeah,
so he stepped up.
That's incredible.
Purchased that for me and stuff. And then this is just recently sent to me from God Tank, and this is a custom haha.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that's beautiful.
This I don't know if people remember. This is the glove that you would get from McDonald's in the Happy Meal and something like that for Ronald McDonald. And I think that's a COVID vaccine shot. So
my gosh!
But just love stuff like this, especially personal artwork and things. You know, I've got a lot of really neat artwork that people have sent me and stuff. So very cool.
It's a great read too.
It's a wonderful. I mean, the first issue was my favorite one.
Oh yeah. I like the first one and first two. I think were really big for me.
I got to show these just because I'm kind of right in the middle of this. So this was my first exclusive book.
Nice.
That I ever did. Knock 'em Dead. First Comics with Bueller exclusive. So this one holds a special place. I actually autographed it to myself.
Cool.
Very I autographed it. It said Comics with Bueller 1 of 1 at 12/1/2020 at 4:38 p.m. So that's the very first comic book I've ever autographed. It's
very cool.
Comics with Bueller exclusive.
Wow. And
then these two are my newest ones, and these ones are the Blowtorch number 1, both the trade or the red, black and white and the color one. So
very nice.
Those are and look at, I got to show this. I'm very proud of this.
Yeah.
So here we go. I gotta show this. So here's the logo on the back. Okay.
Yep.
Isn't that great? That nice.
I love it.
Nice and big. Okay. Let's look at the Knock 'em Dead. This was my first one. Man, when I saw this, I was like, "Oh man, look at
that." Right next to the newsstand there.
Look at the difference.
Yeah.
This is about the size of a dime.
Right.
And I'm like, I asked these guys, is there any way you can make my logo bigger than the dime? He's like, yeah, that's no problem. Like, I didn't really appreciate it.
I love it. Well, there you go. Hey, this is what we're talking about. You're living and you're learning and upgrading as you go. So I love it. It's very cool, man. I see we got Hyper in the house. What's going on, Hyper? Thanks for stopping in. John Thomas says, and he's a chalupa lover.
Oh, I
There
love
you go.
chalupas, man.
Yeah, rumor has it you love chalupas. When Bueller beats Perry's butt, will it be on pay-per-view? Question mark. Find out. We'll have to see.
I've seen that guy. Like I said, I saw him he's a lot fatter in real life.
Oh,
I don't know if that's a diss or whatnot, but I didn't think he was as fat as he really is.
Oh my goodness.
He's gonna kill me.
My buddy Dave here says, did he just say he prefers lower graded books?
Yes,
you did.
I definitely prefer lower. They need a home as well, and I don't mind providing them.
Yeah,
and they're cheaper because I'm a really cheap guy. So I mean, it's just a simple.
Hey, yeah, if it works out for your budget and everything else, it's a way to go. I'd rather own the book than not own it at all. So
2 5s is as good as a 10 in my book.
There you go. It does add up. It does add up. So next I want to ask you a little bit about I know you have a collection, you have your PC. I'm curious, at least for right now, because I know goals change, but what's the big picture for you, as you go through life and 20 years from now, 30 years from now, are you eventually going to pass these books on to your kids, to your family? Are you going to sell these books? I know you don't normally sell that often. Or are you taking these to the grave with you? Like, what's the big picture for your collection?
I mean, I probably have like 2 long boxes of books that I'll probably never get rid of. And it's stuff like this. Yeah. To be totally honest, or the gifts or whatnot. Those are my main things I like. I really want to downsize. I really want to dump. I actually 80% of my collection I'm actually probably getting rid of within the next 6 months, and I really don't care if I give them away, to be totally honest. And I've actually got something local with some of the local collectors around here, to where like they can pick whatever they want. I don't care. And then, And so I'm not really I don't really have goals as far as getting big books anymore. I'm very content with what I have. Yeah. And I'm very happy with what I have. And getting the Iron Man #1 from Two Brothers, that's a book I've always wanted to have in my collection. And, I've never spent more than $60 on a book in my life. Yeah. Wow. And so, I mean, that really narrows it down as far as big books for me. And I don't see myself spending that much money on a book again, to be totally honest. And so I don't mind. My joy for comics right now is talking about comics more so than collecting. I don't know if that makes any sense, because you have to have one book together. But I
totally follow.
I'm very lucky to what I'm doing now is I actually get to just talk about comics. I don't necessarily have to go out and buy the biggest grail or buy the biggest book or be on this and stuff. I read a lot of comics. I read more than I ever have before. And that's because of the relationship I've formed with the publishers and stuff like that. So that's great. And, but I don't mind getting rid of my books, and they've served their purpose for me. I have some very special ones that I'll always keep, and I'll probably be adding to that as time goes on. Yeah. But, if someone came, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I'll just be honest, like Bob. Okay. Yeah. If I get to the point to where I just want to, I want to do some traveling starting next year, I might just give my collection to Bob, say, take it. Yeah. Because I know he'll appreciate it. Right. It wouldn't bother me one bit.
It's going to a good home.
Yeah. If I didn't receive a dime for it, I wouldn't even think twice. Yeah. So I mean, that's just kind of, I get the opportunity to enjoy them whether I have them or don't. Right. And I've sent books out to friends, and I've just said they're like, oh, you didn't need to send this to me. I go, don't look at this as though I'm giving it to you. Look at it as though we're sharing a collection together. Just because it's under your roof, it's still part of our collection. I kind of look at it that way. You can do what you want with it. Sure. But,
no, it's
anyway.
No, it's a great way to look at it. And I think that you have found something really special, because I feel like there are people who still feel this obligation to own it all, to have it themselves. And obviously there's this other side to it where you're reading these books, you're talking about these books, you're talking to other community members about, how these books made you feel, what you liked about them, the artwork, so on and so forth. There's so many other angles to this hobby. And so for you to be, you are very happy with where you are right now. I think that's the most important thing. So, however you collect, to each their own. And, you seem like you've really found that special combination for yourself on what makes you happy. So,
I'll be honest, not worrying about speculation or the hot book or the monetary value is very liberating, and not, did I miss it? Did I not get it? Or is it gonna be worth something?
Yeah.
Not having that like on the table for me, it really makes me appreciate the comics more.
Yeah.
Because I've made money off comics, and I've sold comics, back in the 90s, and
Sure.
I've made money. I make money off my exclusive comics that I sell. It's not a huge amount, but it's enough to to make a living and stuff.
Sure.
And to do this full time.
Yeah.
But I'm not a greedy guy by any means. And but I don't like, one of the questions was that we answered in the coffee video. Somebody asked me, he goes, "What's your thoughts on the new Batman comic book with the Fortnite code?" Because like apparently if it has that code in there, it's the book is worth $20. I'm like, I said I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
I think something like that's stupid, because it's like the book's not worth $20. It's the code that's worth $20.
Right.
And depending on what they do with that code, whether like a year from now they decide to give away the skin or whatever it is for free, well, then guess what? Your book's not. There's no value to the book or whatnot. So I look at stuff like that, and it really doesn't even cross my mind like to get that. Yeah. I know that I'm really that Bad Idea comics.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I guess apparently if you're like the first one to buy the issue at the comic shop, they give you a button. Okay.
Oh,
I don't know if you heard about this.
No.
And apparently that's what they're doing. And it's like limited edition. First one to buy the book at the store, you get a button. I'm really hoping to get that button because I'm going to smash it. I'm going to smash it on camera. So this is stupid.
I haven't heard of that, but wow, interesting.
I'm going to make all your other buttons worth more money because I'm going to take mine and smash it.
I want to highlight here, John Ross saying Bueller brings such a fresh perspective, and love his show. Thanks so much, John, for chiming in here. Lindsay too saying love this perspective. Yeah. I totally agree. Bueller, I love just the way you look at things here, what you bring to this hobby, as I've talked about. So everybody here in the chat, we got 25 people right now. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us. Make sure you guys are subbed up to Bueller and following him over on Instagram. And of course, hit that thumbs up. I want to ask you this, and this is something I always bring up on my show, where new collectors are coming into this hobby every day. And I love it. I love seeing new collectors taking on, new perspectives of this hobby and diving into the books and reading and figuring out what they like. I know some people can look at this as their brand new, that this might be an intimidating hobby to get into, depending on what who you have around you and what you're looking at. Generally speaking, do you have some advice that you would give to someone who is just considering getting into reading comic books and collecting comic books?
Well, when someone's getting into it, there's a reason why they're getting into it. Maybe they saw a movie or something like that, or a TV show. I mean, very seldom do you hear someone just like wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm going to buy a comic book today." Something led them to that point. And what I tell people, what led you to it, follow that. If you saw Avengers, Endgame, or Infinity Wars, follow that. Go and pick up the trade paperback for the Infinity Wars. See what you like. See what that leads into. Get the. I'm forgetting the guy's name who wrote that. I interviewed him. I can't remember the guy's name, but anyway.
Is Starlin? Are you talking about or?
He's just a little dude.
Okay.
But anyway, I tell people to follow what got you in there, and then whatever that is, look up that writer or artist other work, and then go see what they saw. Go see the other stuff, because these writers and artists, they've written many stories, not just one story.
Yeah.
They're very seldom do you have a writer just write one story and they're done. Okay,
Yeah.
there's
Right.
100 other ones that you can find, and the information's out there. So if you Jim Starlin, okay, Jim Starlin.
Starlin, yeah, okay.
So I mean, if you like Infinity War and you go Jim Starlin and whatnot, then go look at his other works that he's done.
Yeah.
And then kind of go from there. That's the easiest thing to do. I recommend if you're new and if you want to get into Marvel, start with the Marvel app, as far as like just reading some of the stuff that you're going to miss. If you want to read stuff, I know it's digital and stuff and maybe that doesn't help or whatnot, but there's a lot of gaps that's going to fill in for you that
you can explore. Yeah,
exactly. I remember you saying one time, oh, digital is, I'm still not a fan of digital, but it's like somebody said to me, it's like, I can't afford to buy a copy of 181, but I can read a digital copy on the Marvel app. I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's a service it provides.
Yeah.
So use that.
Yep.
It is an intimidating hobby sometimes because there is so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
But there's also so much stuff like this, like what we're doing right now, that's available on YouTube or Instagram, and that you can meet people in the community and help you along the way. The one thing that me and Bob have tried to focus on is to not make it so intimidating, is to not make it such a hard thing in there, to not make it all about a dollar figure.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it about a book that you enjoy having in your collection because you like that character, because you like the story. And if it's worth money down the road, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a book in my collection worth $100, but I don't like it.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Why would I want something that I don't like, but yeah, it's worth $100? I'd rather want something in my collection that I like and it's worth $100.
Right. Yeah. Win-win.
So I mean, I think there's the main thing to do is just buy a comic. I mean, that's the main. Just go out, go buy one that kind of. You're gonna buy a dud. You're always gonna buy. We all buy duds all the time, and then you're gonna find one that's good, and stick with the ones that are good, But there are duds out there. I mean, look at the King and Black's tie-ins. How many of those were necessary? None.
Yeah, no, right. It's a lot.
But the King and Black story was obviously the better story. So I mean, there's duds out there. Yep. But just buy a comic. Start with the Spawn. There you go. Start with $2.99 Spawn. I'm trying to make that the most.
I know. I've seen you talk about it.
Trying to make that the number one comic in the world.
I love it. I think that's some really great advice, and the thing that one of the things that you pointed out too that I really like to point out or follow up on what you said was to the idea of exploring what else a writer has done, because I think a lot of people look at a character, a superhero character, and just want to dive into that. And not that that's anything wrong with that, but it is something to consider where if you fell in love with a story, go look at what the creator of that story has done in other areas, because that could make you fall in love with other characters as well. I know I've experienced it, where I've done that.
Just look at obviously Batman, mainstream character, James Tynion, just kicking ass on that title.
Oh yeah.
Go look at his other stuff. Oh my God. Go look at Something Is Killing the Children. Go look at Department of Truth.
Yep.
They're awesome, and just totally different stories. There's no relation between any of those at all. Right. They're awesome. It's just going down the rabbit hole that artist or writer, and you can find a ton of things. You can look at Chip Zdarsky or whatnot. Look at his stuff that he does.
That's great too. Yeah.
And you'll find these mainstream titles, and you'll find these independent titles that they do, and you really start to see the freedom that they have on these independent titles. And then you figure out there's even more. There's even more to Donny Cates than Venom. There's God Country. There's Redneck. There's all sorts of stuff that you can find that's just like, oh Jesus, I just hit the tip of the iceberg. Rom V, man, this guy's writing like a book a day. It seems like right now.
It does seem like that.
Last week when I was doing this thing, I was like, Jesus, every one of his books was on my top 10 list.
They're all great. Yeah,
they're all great.
Yeah,
whether it's Catwoman, Swamp Thing, or his other titles, but just like there's so much to choose from. These people are very talented people, and they're putting the pen to paper, and you just the artist right now is the rock star, or I'm sorry, the writer right now is the rock star. In the 90s, it was different. It was
the opposite, right?
It was the artist was the rock star. Now it's the writer. And I think that's really cool.
It's so interesting. Yeah. To see it change like that. That's interesting. I wanted to highlight a couple things here in the chat. I see Kevin here said, I got into comics a year or two ago. I don't have much value books, but I am happy that I read more and makes it easier to read college textbooks because I'm used to reading. So there you go. I mean, that in itself too is another great thing that you can also point out is that, reading comics, obviously you're getting that experience of just reading and learning and as you go. So that also can.
Yeah. I hate reading books, man. I kid you not. I used to do my book reports on comic books in school.
Oh yeah.
I did my major book report on Arkham Asylum. And I literally changed all the names of the characters.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
From like Bruce Wayne to like Scott Smith. And like the Joker to like Mr. whatever and whatnot.
Oh my
I
God.
literally did all my book reports on Batman and the Spider-Man books.
Oh my gosh! Imagine Scott Smith, millionaire by day, and
great.
Street Fighter at night. Yeah, I love that. Let's see. There was another thing here. Oh, and the chat just jumped on me. Sorry about that. Quick hello to S. Vaughn. What's going on? Bueller is the man, he says. Scott here says Comixology is great. I definitely agree with that. I am a digital reader. I will say I do like to own the physical book too, but that's just kind of the way I collect. So I do double myself and buy the book physically and digitally. But I do love the experience of digital personally. But I will own the book too because I do like to own the book along with it.
I'm the same way. I read a lot of digital stuff. I actually. Like I said, I have a nice relationship with the publishers and stuff. Yeah. And so it saves me money, but I also go and buy the book as well if I really enjoy it. Even if I've read it and stuff. And I'll buy it. I read something that's Killing Children a week before it hits the stands. I'm there Wednesday morning buying it to buy it.
Yeah, because you want to support your LCS. You want to support the publisher or whatever. The artists, the creators that are behind it. So it does tie into all.
What I really like to do is. Because I usually get Marvel books like the Friday before they come out on the next Wednesday. And so I'll read them all. And then I'll go to the comic shop on Wednesday morning and my buddy Sam will be there. And Sam is a big Marvel fan. So I sit there and I teased spoilers to him like for the first 10 minutes before we open.
That's brutal.
And he's like, he's like, shut up. Shut up. And I'm like just spoiling all this stuff for him. He's like, he drives the nuts.
So rude, man. So rude. Uncanny Swag says, get the trades too. Yeah, the trades, another great way, especially to be effective. But if you have a budget or you're trying to just collect it in a whole, it's sometimes it's easier to read that way as well. So great advice, Bueller. Really appreciate that. We're a little over the hour mark. I do want to hit you with some rapid fire questions that I have prepared for you.
Sure.
So let's dive into that. And again, everybody here that's hanging out with us, we got 25 people still. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're following Bueller. Subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. John saying Ram V Zadarsky are two. Yeah, absolutely. My man Remy Q in the house. What's up, Remy? So yeah, let's see. Let me pull up my questions here. So Bueller, first and foremost, I think you kind of answered this question already, but if you had to choose one character, you definitely answered this. Who's your favorite character of all time? Punisher. Yeah. What about when it comes to villains? Who's your favorite villain?
Favorite villain? I Craven.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say technically you could throw Punisher in there, right? Kind of. He's not a villain, but he's like he's
great. He's gray area.
Yeah, gray area. Yeah. Overall, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
If you could have one superpower, what would that be?
Flying.
There you go, flight.
Yeah.
See it's got to be some people here in the chat that are commenting that right now. We joke about it because we get a lot of people that say flight.
I used to tell my kids, we used to have a fun little game. We used to say, if you could choose flight or invisibility, but there was a caveat to the two. If you chose flight, you can only fly 2 inches off the ground. That's it, just 2 inches.
Oh.
But if you're invisible, you can be invisible, but you smelled like crap. And so that was the thing. It was like,
oh my god!
Superpower would you want? Would you rather be invisible but you smell horrible and there's nothing you can do about it, or would you choose flight, but you can only fly 2 inches off the ground?
Oh my gosh. I just picture Sue Storm and just thinking like if that was her ability and that she just smelled like crap the whole time. How awkward would that be?
That Sue Storm must be around. It smells over here, man.
Oh, that's hysterical. I love it. I love it. Let's see. What was the last comic book that you read?
The last one I read, I just read it. It was the guy sent it to me. It's the Cocaine Hot Valley Days and Cocaine Nights #3. He sent the writer sent me #2 and 3.
Nice.
And because I never found him, I just got him last week, and I was just sitting down, and I showed Bob because Bob was over today. And I just read it. So
yeah, what did you think of it?
I liked it. He sent me the he sent me the variant cover for #2, which is like the naked lady with like
I've seen some. Yeah.
I'm like, hey now, I can't show this on the coffee show,
right?
But great story. So
nice. Good to hear that.
I just looked at the pictures.
Yeah. Let's see. John said Bueller just invented a new mystery man. Yeah, there you go.
I have some warped sense of humor when it comes to like my people with superpowers and stuff like that. And there was this one, and this is horrible. I'll probably get in trouble for this, but oh well. I was like, imagine this guy. He's handicapped. He's in a chair. He can't move or nothing like that. But his superpower is if he touches you, you turn into a handicap and stuff. And so he's just motoring around in his wheelchair, and he's just bumping into criminals and stuff like that, and then he turns them into other handicaps. It's really bad. Now this sounds horrible, but I'm handicapped, so I can get away with this.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, my whole theory is a villain gets a hold of his remote control for the chair, and he starts driving them into regular people and making turning everybody into.
Oh my god! People. You put some thought into this. I could see this being a book.
I pitched it to one of my writer friends. He's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. Sleepy said, "Do you have to be naked to be invisible?"
Yes, all the time.
There you go. All right, let's see. Next question for you. Do you prefer the original X-Men team or the new X-Men team?
New was in X-Men 94.
Yeah.
X-Men 94. So the new one, Wolverine. Yeah. That's I have almost a whole run from 94 to 300.
Oh my God, that's a goal of mine. I've been slowly trying to do that. Luckily, I've got most of the books already. That the expensive ones I've already got out of the way. So
yeah, I'm only missing like 10.
Nice. I love it. If you could go back into time and even any time period, if you could just travel back into time and buy one comic book for cover price to keep forever in your PC, what would that one comic book be?
I could never sell it.
You can never sell it. You have to keep it.
I don't know. Well, that kind of changes everything, right?
Well, I mean, what would be cool? What would be cool to just have?
Well, I mean, the one that's always eluded me, I've never had was a giant size X-Men #1.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only Grail I've never owned. I've always wanted to have it. I'm not going to spend the thousands of dollars that it is, so it's going to have to be one of those special finds or whatnot, like,
of course.
Underneath the bed or something. I don't know.
Right.
But that would be one that I'd like to have in my collection.
You never know, man. You never know when books can, appear and have an opportunity to get into your PC. So
that's right.
Very cool. So let's see. I want to shift gears a little bit here. I want to ask you some non-comic book related questions, just to get a little bit more insight on Bueller. Okay. So first question here is, are you a sports guy? And if you are, what's your favorite sport and favorite sports team?
I am a sports guy, although I'm older and fatter than I used to be, and I'm not able to perform in multiple different ways. So that's a conversation. As much as I could when I was younger, but I was definitely a basketball guy. I'm tall. I could jump out of the building. I could dunk a basketball when I was in the 8th grade. And
how tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
Wow. Okay.
But I was, like I said, I was a lot skinnier back then or whatnot. But by the time I was a freshman, I could stand underneath the basket and dunk two hands.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And because I practiced a lot to jumping and everything, and even I used to wear the weights on my legs, and run around to build up my muscles and stuff.
Wow, yeah.
So basketball has always been the thing. I played a little bit of football. I don't really watch foot. I couldn't probably name like 5 people in the NFL right now, but I still enjoy football.
Yeah.
But basketball has always been the one I still watch games right now. I don't really have a team, even though I'm in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
I just appreciate a good game. You know? And so if I can get a good game, whether who wins, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm used to Portland losing, so I don't. I root for them to win, but I'm okay with them losing because because the last time they won something was when Star Wars 1 came out. So
there you go.
77. So my expectations are very low.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, I'm a sports guy. Baseball's never been. I was never tremendously good at baseball.
Yeah,
but football and basketball. Well, basketball by far was my favorite.
Okay, I like it. We also got Dank Comics in the house. Says, what a guest. Appreciate you, Dank, for stopping in. And I also saw my man John's Comics with Kids. John, we were just talking X-Men. Bueller chose the new team. Right way to go. So we're on board there.
I will tell you this. I want real quick about basketball. When I used to play basketball, I was a dick.
Oh yeah.
I was an ass. I mean, I would talk so much trash.
Oh, I mean, you got to though. I mean,
I loved it. I loved it because like I said, I'm the youngest of 11,
right?
And so I mean, I was always like the last one to play and stuff like that. So by the time I got any good, I really had to work at it. And so whenever I got the chance, I would go and play basketball at the park or something, man.
Yeah,
I'd sit there and go, no blood, no foul, let's play, and then we just go at it, and it was a lot of fun.
I love it. John says pro wrestling. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So next question for you is, for where do you stand with music? What's your favorite genre of music? And do you have a favorite artist or band?
I couldn't really tell you anything within the last probably 20 years.
Okay. So what do you listen to now then?
Mainly I just listen to it's funny because at a time when I grew up, it was during the grunge phase, like Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots, Nirvana, and stuff like that. And I still listen to those guys today.
Great 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but as I've gotten older, I've enjoyed years previous to that, like the Beatles and like the Who and Led Zeppelin and stuff that was even before my time, like my brother's, time or whatnot, so
70s and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. And so I enjoy that mainly the most. I mean, I remember, I had Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and all that stuff bumping in my car. I had a big 15-inch kicker subwoofer in the back.
Me too. The subs, with
the 6x9s and the amplifier and it got ripped off like 4 different times and stuff. And
they could hear you from a mile away as you're
pulling. Oh yeah, it just rattled the whole windows out and everything. It was just ridiculous. And every time I rebuilt and put it in there, it got ripped off like a week later and stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But I mean, I enjoy that stuff, but really, I don't know of too much within the last, like I said, 15, 20 years I really listened to and paid too much attention to. Every now and then, a band would pop up I liked, like Wolf Mother was one that I really enjoyed.
Sure.
There's another guy called Benjamin Clementine. He does a little kind of it's not really jazz, but I don't know, it's a different type of alternative music or whatnot.
Oh, nice.
I do like jazz and stuff like that as well. Like I just like to relax and put some, coffee shop jazz on the background. And
yep. Do you listen to music while you read?
I don't know. Maybe
like background music or just whatever's on.
If I remember, I will.
Yeah.
But for the most part, time when I'm reading, I just kind of go out on my porch and have a cup of coffee and just sit out there and read and stuff. So
nice. Ragin says Pearl Jam. He noted that. I know he's a big Pearl Jam fan.
Pearl Jam was one of my favorites, man. It's I actually wanted to do a homage cover of the 10, their album cover 10.
Yeah.
I wanted to do an homage cover on the comic book to that.
It's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Eventually, it'll happen. So
yeah, do it. Do it. My girlfriend loves Pearl Jam, and maybe that'll get her to buy a comic book.
there you
Let's see. John says, "Good music. Good music is good music." Absolutely. David here said, "Trash talking works only if you can back it up." I think that's fair to say. Next question for you is, what is your? This is kind of a tough one. You have to pick one. Or at least what comes to mind here. What is your all-time favorite movie of all time? I just said all time twice. That's how big this is.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's one I can watch over and over and over again.
Okay, yeah.
Independence Day.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, there's better movies out there, but for some reason, I can put that movie on anytime, any hour, any day, and I can just sit there and watch it. I'm okay with it,
You could jump in anywhere.
Exactly. It doesn't
you just know where it is.
Exactly. And I could probably recite every word from that movie.
Yep.
And I remember seeing it in the theater multiple times.
Yeah.
But for some reason, man, whenever I'm like sitting at home, I want to put something on in the background. It's 9 times out of 10, it's that movie.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. I feel that way about Forrest Gump. I feel like I could jump into Forrest Gump at any given
moment. And Roadhouse. Roadhouse is another one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Nice one, James.
Don't forget Roadhouse. That's a special movie for me, Roadhouse. That's like I said, I went into that when I saw that movie as a kid. I went in a boy and I came out a man.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. Next question I have for you here is, if you could go anywhere in the world, granted there is no pandemic, it's completely safe to travel. You could take your family with you, completely free for a week. What's that one location, that one vacational, place that you'd want to go?
I'd like to go to New Zealand. That's always a place
nice.
I've wanted to go for a long time. I've traveled some places throughout my life and whatnot, but never that far. And my sister went down there a couple of years ago, and they actually went to the Hobbit, where they filmed all the Lord. She kept sending me pictures. I'm like, you're such a jerk. Rubbing it in.
Rubbing it in, yeah.
I'm like, come on. She went with like her husband and their friends and stuff,
Yeah.
They just had a great time. And I'd like to go there. The people there are very, very nice. It's a different atmosphere and everything. So I think if I had one choice, that would be it. So that, and honestly, Dubai would be another one I'd like to go to.
I wouldn't mind going there. Yeah,
I'd love to just visit it's just amazing.
A lot of beautiful scenes and everything there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's architecturally, it's just out of this world, to be totally honest. It would totally different environment, but I'd like to visit there someday.
That is awesome. My friend Victoria, who I do a book club with, we just started recently. She lives in New Zealand.
Cool.
And she's shown me some like the beaches that she lives near, and it's kind of crazy because it's like she can go with her family, and I guess I don't know if it's just because the time of year or whatever, but she's shown the beach where it's just empty and they just have the whole beach to themselves, and it looks like paradise. It just looks like paradise. I'm like, that's incredible. I definitely would like to go there at some point. I see Lindsay says Wedding Crashers for her movie pick. What was the other one that stood out? Oh, Coming to America. That's another great one for sure. Some good stuff there. David says Bangkok for traveling. All right, last question that I have for you, and this is one that I always like to kind of close out with. Curious where you stand on this. Actually, I kind of probably already have an idea, but maybe there's a surprise I don't know about. If you had the house to yourself Friday night, and it's time for dinner, you could either cook, you could go out, or you could order something in. What is your go-to meal that you enjoy most for dinner on a Friday night?
Well, I always do have the house to myself on Friday night.
Oh, there you
go. Honestly, if I can get anything my mom cooks, mom's a great cook, and she makes wonderful French dip sandwiches and stuff. She's got like a secret recipe and stuff for the sauce and everything. And if I can get her to make me French dip sandwiches every Friday for the rest of my life, I'd be set.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. It crossed my mind that you were going to say chalupa, so that I was thinking of chalupas when I was asking this question.
Chalupa is that's more than just a Friday a week.
Okay. Yeah.
Chalupa is multiple times a week. So
I love that. Do you have a choice drink that you prefer?
Coffee.
Ooh, all right, yeah, there you go. I love coffee.
I don't drink alcohol.
Okay.
I don't actually like the taste of alcohol at all.
Oh, okay.
Wine, beer, anything like that. I used to drink a lot when I was younger, but I just don't like the taste. So I like the coffee taste. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, no, hey, I'm all for it. I need coffee every day, and I love it. I enjoy it. My girlfriend does not drink coffee, but she loves the smell of it. So she'll actually make the coffee for me in the morning just so that she can smell it before.
Did you see my Instagram video I put up on my coffee counter?
No, I didn't.
I have like 5 or 6 coffee machines on my counter.
Yeah.
I have an espresso machine. I have a Keurig machine. I have a regular coffee maker. And I have my old Keurig machine, and then I have a Frappuccino machine.
Oh my gosh, you do not play games.
I have my grinder, my milk frother. I mean, you name it. It's the whole counter.
That's incredible, man. If I'm out in Portland, I know where I'm going for some coffee. Then nice. I love it. So very cool. Those are kind of the rapid questions that I had for you today that I just wanted to throw your way. So Bueller, thank you so much, man, for taking this time to being on the show. I know we're at an hour and a half now, but I just loved hearing all the stories that you had to share, your perspective on different things in the hobby. You always bring so much knowledge to the table when it comes to this hobby. So I appreciate everything you're doing, man, and I really do genuinely just think you're onto something great. Keep doing what you're doing. Continue with that content because you're helping people like me learn from just learn in general with this hobby. So thank you so much, man, for being on here. I really do appreciate it.
This is great, man. I like I said before, I really enjoy doing this stuff and getting a chance to talk with you and the people taking the time to watch us today. I appreciate that. And everyone, I know a lot of these names in the chat, and there's a few in here I don't. So hello, nice to meet you and stuff and everything. And anytime I get a chance to talk about comics and not do anything else, I'll do it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, I mean, we'll have to collaborate again sometime because that's all I like to do is talk comics. So I'm sure we could work something out down the road again because this was a lot of fun. It really was. I'll have to get Bob on this show at some point. I have to reach out to Bob.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right guy.
Yeah. He's moody. He's very moody.
I hope he watches this later.
I hope he does too.
Yeah. I want to say hello. Kevin's in the house here. Superpower review. Thanks for stopping in, man. So my friend Michael says, what a stand-up guy. I enjoyed his videos for good reason. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
David here says thumbs up this show to support the channel. Yes, please do. Appreciate that. Make sure you guys are following Bueller. Bueller, if real quick, I like to give my guests like a little platform here to just let the people know where they can find you and if you have anything special coming up that you want to mention.
Well, I got videos next week, I guess. The coffee video on Monday morning. It's at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Monday. Me and Bob just filmed it earlier today. It's a Q&A video, and pretty much we had like over 100 questions. We answered every one of them, and it was just it was a good time. So just as long as you're watching comic book videos, whether it's mine or whoever, just take time, enjoy being part of the community, and eventually you'll find your way to me. So there you
go. Everybody's connected somehow,
There you go.
Well said. Well, again, Bueller, thank you so much for being on the show here with us. We still have 18 people in the chat right now. So everybody here watching, thank you all for catching this live, taking the time out of your day, especially on a Saturday, to come hang out with us. I do appreciate all your time. And of course, anybody watching this replay, because I know some of you are watching the replay. So talking to you right now, the person watching the replay, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Again, make sure you guys are subbed up to Bueller. That Monday show is my favorite show. I say it every time. My favorite show, especially on a Monday morning, is just a perfect time for me to jump into and learn and see whatever everybody's talking about. So Bueller, again, thank you so much. Everybody here, hit that thumbs up on your way out. Reach out to Bueller, and I'll be back again next Saturday. So until then, we will talk to you guys later. Peace.